So the story I'm going to share with you here is a twist on a traditional tale of the Mahabharata, the writing of it anyway, and of how Ganesha came to write that poem with the help of the poet Vyasa. And it is definitely a twist on it. And so I hope that you enjoy it. It's one of my favorite books to read. This particular book hasn't been around very long. It's pretty new. The colors are so beautiful, and the illustrations are so sweet. It's called Ganesha Sweet Tooth, and it is written by Sanjay Patel and illustrated by Emily Haynes. Ganesha is a Hindu god. He's very important and powerful, and a tad chubby. But when he was a kid, he was just like any other kid, except that he had an elephant's head and cruised around on a magical mouse, collecting fruit, rice, sweets, and other gifts from the temples in his neighborhood. So here he is on his magical mouse, and here he is collecting all the sweets. There's all the pictures of him as a child. Ganesha loved to eat sweets and candy, especially the traditional Indian dessert, laddu. His best friend, Mr. Mouse, could eat only one at a time, which was okay by Ganesha. He did not want to share all his laddus. Squeak! So here he is sharing his laddus with Mr. Mouse. One day, while Ganesha and Mr. Mouse were out looking for sweets, they discovered a new kind of laddu, a super jumbo jawbreaker laddu. It's coming down out of the candy machine. Ganesha snatched up the shiny treat and was about to eat it right there on the spot. "Wait!" squeaked Mr. Mouse. "Don't eat it! It's a jawbreaker! It'll break your tusk!" "But I'm a god," said Ganesha. "I'm invincible." Ganesha popped the laddu into his mouth. He bit down and... snap! Squeak! "Oh no!" Mr. Mouse yelled. "How will I ever put my tusk back on?" Ganesha wailed. Ganesha was very clever. He tried all sorts of ideas. What if I tie it on with string? What if I stick it on with glue? Maybe I could just hold it with my hand? But nothing worked. "I look lopsided," he said. "Everyone will laugh at me." "No, they won't," said Mr. Mouse. "Everyone loses their teeth, and besides, you already have an elephant's head, and your friends still love you." Here he's trying to hide. Ganesha wasn't convinced. He thought he looked awful. He took all his anger and frustration and he hurled his tusk at the moon. But the tusk didn't hit the moon. It sailed over a bush and hit the head of an old man who was walking nearby. Tonk! And that's Vyasa the poet. There he is. He's so upset. He threw his tusk. Can you see it? Shh. He was aiming for the moon. "Is this your tusk?" the old man asked. "I'm sorry," said Ganesha. "I didn't mean to hit you. I was aiming for the moon." "What's your name?" "I'm Ganesha. This is Mr. Mouse." "You're Ganesha?" the old man said. "I've been looking for you." "I'm Vyasa the poet, and I need a special scribe for a poem. It's so long that no man could ever write the whole thing. All the pens in the world would break before it was done." I'm not a man, said Ganesha, and I love stories, but I don't have anything to write with. What about your tusk? Vyasa asked. That's just a big tooth, Ganesha said. It's a very special tooth, Vyasa explained, handing Ganesha a piece of paper. Give it a try. Ganesha took the paper and pressed down with the tip of his tusk. It made a mark. Ganesha was so excited that he drew a flower and a tree and a picture of Mr. Mouse, along with a few of his other favorite things. I love this page. This is one of my favorite pages. Looks like Mendy. I love my tusk, said Ganesha. I'd be happy to help you. What is the story about? The beginning of things, said Vyasa. It's rather hard to sum up. It's called the Mahabharata. Excuse me, said Mr. Mouse, jumping to the end of Ganesha's trunk. I don't mean to interrupt, but what exactly are the terms of this agreement? It is a very long poem, after all. Can you tell the whole story in one go, Vyasa? No stopping? 2. As long as Ganesha understands the meaning of everything I say, Vyasa says. 3. Can I eat sweets while I write? Asked Ganesha. 4. As long as you don't stop writing, said Vyasa. 5. Ganesha and Mr. Mouse agreed. Let's begin. The agreements that they made to write the Mahabharata. As Vyasa spoke, Ganesha put his tusk to the paper and began writing. Soon he forgot all about the super jumbo jawbreaker, Laddu, and how funny he looked. He even forgot about the sweets he wanted to eat. Long ago, Vyasa said, there lived a very brave king of Hastinapur. One day when he was out hunting, he happened upon a beautiful woman sitting on the banks of the Ganga River. And here is my other favorite page. It is all of the things, or some of the things, I guess not all, because it would be a very long page indeed, that Vyasa talked about. So if you know some of the stories from the Mahabharata, you might see if this is your culture, or if it's not your culture and you've read it anyway, you might know some of these stories. "100,000 verses later, Ganesha put down his tusk. The Mahabharata, the great epic of Hindu literature, was complete. Ganesha peeked around a stack of paper and saw that Mr. Mouse had been eating his way through the laddus as they worked. The poem had taken a very long time. But Ganesha was happy to see there were still a few left for him and his friends. So this is not really a retelling of the legend, the actual story that comes from the culture. It's a twist on it. Oh, hello. Hello, Noonie. Good morning. Do you want to turn around and say good morning? No, you don't want to say good morning this morning? Mm-mm. Do you want to tell? I sure can. So this is a twist on the story of Ganesha's sweet tooth. So maybe this will be a bonus.
Mom, can I do my